Actually, you know what? Stop. Put your hands up.
Throw them up.
Oh, wow.
It's time for the Good Hands plays presented by Allstate. You're in good hands with Trevor Lawrence, who had 6 bleeping touchdowns. I don't have a question, but Duval, Bill, the floor is yours.
Always right, sometimes wrong. Just early, usually. You know, I week 1, I said Charlie would regret putting Daniel Jones ahead of Trevor Lawrence. I forget exactly what I said. It was a long time ago. It's been a lot of sleepless nights since then.
Yeah, I remember exactly what you said. It was something about driving someone to the airport.
Bo Nix. It was Bo Nix.
That was great name, Bo Nix.
Okay, my bad.
Not this week. We got a victory speech going. To be fair, it involved playing Tennessee, the Colts, who lost Daniel Jones in mid-game to a torn Achilles and had to play Riley Leonard, and the Jets, who I don't want to say they're not trying, but I was shocked that like all their players came back out for the second half of this game. Trevor Lawrence looks great, and I mean it looks good in a way that it did not look even when it was going good in years past.
Did you see
this is the
throw
best Trevor Lawrence we've seen so far.
I think it was to Jacoby Myers. He's fading back to his left, and he just that was an unbelievable.
And you know what the crazy part is? That was the second week in a row he's made that throw. He made it the same throw last week.
That was a Stafford, Jordan Love, Mahomes, like younger Mahomes level, like ball placement, ripping the throw type of throw.
Younger Mahomes took a shot.
I mean, he looks so much more comfortable in this offense than he did earlier this season. And I didn't think this was going to happen, so I can't take credit for this one. But man, that trade for Jacoby Myers, who wasn't even getting time with the Raiders,
maybe the
Jacoby
most important
Myers
trade
is like it's like a legit wide receiver one now. It has been incredible. He's such a valuable piece for them. Brian Thomas is like a secondary piece in the offense. They're running the ball really well. It just that team earlier this year, they were completely reliant on their defense forcing takeaways. When the takeaways cleared up, that team was mediocre in the middle of this season. And if not for a horrific blown lead against Davis Mills and the Texans a few weeks ago, they'd be on a 7-game winning streak right now. They would be right behind the Broncos as the hottest team in football. And I don't think they're that far off given how well Trevor Lawrence is playing.
That Charlie transitioned us to that segment about Trevor Lawrence, but I'm assuming that that's also your answer for the player that you think has the opportunity to jump, because he's always, I think what comes with it is like the physical ability comes with this projection. It's someone who can be in that neighborhood. He was a number 1 overall pick, and of course we don't have to relive all this. Like the talent was there, the expectation was there, the physical ability, arm talent, athleticism, all was there. If you're looking at any of these quarterbacks in AFC, the one who I think is probably the one that was the most promising when he came to the league was Trevor Lawrence. This might be his chance to like elevate to that level and build off of it and continue to do it, or he could also go back to being kind of inconsistent.
I actually agree with Charlie. I think it's Herbert, because the guy Herbert has been in the league has inspired more of the ilk to feel like he's the actual MVP caliber quarterback who just needs everything to be right for a stretch of time, which it's not right now, but at least one of the things that was wrong in the past, Mahomes being available, is no longer the case. Lawrence has not been that guy really for any stretch of time. He had like a good touchdown to interception ratio for a stretch, but like in terms of consistently generating chunk yardage, like this is the best stretch of his career. And that ability, that run game, they have a relatively healthy offense outside of Travis Hunter, which I think goes a long way right now, because we talked about it. I mean, so many teams are banged up on the offensive side of the ball right now. Like, if he can be this guy, if this is like the actual Trevor Lawrence, that's going to be a very scary team. I still think Herbert has more to gain because he's in the division with Mahomes, and because Trevor Lawrence did beat him in the postseason a couple of years ago. So like a run to the AFC Championship game would be more for Herbert than it would for Lawrence. But Lawrence, I mean, like you said, this was a legitimate, like, is this guy going to be traded? Is this regime that didn't draft him going to say, you know what, we're paying this guy $55 million a year, we're good? Like, that's off the table now. Like, it feels like he suddenly is one of the 5 best quarterbacks in football, at least in terms of how he's playing over the past month of football.
I agree, and don't forget that Trevor Lawrence came back from 27 down to beat the Bilks Prince, Justin Herbert in that playoff game. It was preposterous. It was one of those Chargers. It was like peak chargering. They missed that extra point right before halftime. We're all like, oh no, this certainly won't come back to bite them in the. But I want to ask about this because we are enamored with the Texans at this show because of how physical their defense, the fact that they have a movie defense, the fact that it's literally the program come to life. And we say this every single week.
We've said it since week one, how they fly around and it does look like it's choreographed. The way they hit people is like they got wires attached to them and they're yanking them around the screen. It's amazing and I love it.
It looks like the Neil Hunter and Will Anderson are going to come together at the quarterback and they're going to do like a shot of the quarterback lying on the ground with the snot bubbles, like after Latimer hit the quarterback. But they actually have a Latimer too. Or no, they have a Lassiter. Sorry, not Latimer.
We hit a backflip. I promise you, Latimer can't hit a backflip.
I guarantee you he cannot.
Lassiter hit a backflip.
And yeah, I mean that's the top celebration. But with that said, how do you see the AFC South? Because I think that these teams are both really interesting, and I think it would be a fool's errand to just be like, oh, the Texans are so much better when the Jaguars have played really well since this. And this is shocking from like if I were to tell you, to Bill's point, that Brian Thomas Jr. was going to be a secondary receiver and Travis Hunter was going to be out for the season and their offense was going to explode like this, you would have thought that was insane.
Yeah, but they can run the ball. But that's the difference between the Jaguars and the Texans is that they're not stuck in 3rd and 12 and need their quarterback to bail them out over and over again because they can run the ball. The Texans, I mean, the most dyed-in-the-wool battle red Texans fan cannot say that team can run the football consistently. And so that makes life easier for Trevor Lawrence. It does not feel like he has to be single-handedly driving this team forward. And being able to play in positive game scripts, being able to play ahead of schedule is like such a life-relieving solution for quarterbacks. And I think that's what's making Trevor Lawrence elevate his game.